My girlfriend asked my friend to hook up with her, so I made her prom night a living nightmare. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. I was always a grade-focused student and missed out on a lot of high school experiences, like having a girlfriend. My senior year, I loosened up and started dating. Eventually, I met a foreign transfer student who shared common interests with me, and she became my girlfriend after a month of casual dates. Because she grew up mostly outside the US, she dreamed of going to a real prom. I was stoked to take her and make her dream come true. However, a few weeks before the dance, I found out through friends that she was texting another guy if he was down to hook up. She didn't know I tutored this guy before and we were friendly. Once he found out I was her boyfriend, he showed me her texts and told me nothing happened. I wasn't angry with him, but I was livid with her, and I played it off like I knew nothing. She excitedly bought her dress and made appointments to get her hair and makeup done and kept talking about plans for the dance. The day of prom, I texted her that I knew about her attempts to cheat and that we were done. I went with a close female friend who knew the situation and needed a date. We had a great time and made awesome memories. My ex never got to go to her senior prom because she couldn't get another date last minute, and it scarred her emotionally and mentally because she not only got labeled as a cheater at our high school, but her dream never came true. Years later, friends tell me she's still extremely bitter about missing out on the epitome of high school dances. I feel no guilt. She was the jerk. Yeah, I can't say I would really feel too bad about that either. Surely she has to understand that she had it coming. She can't really blame our original poster for behaving the way he did. Could he have been more mature about it? Sure. But he was also a teenager in high school, and this was maybe his first girlfriend. Obviously, when you feel slighted like that, that really hurts. And you're gonna want to hurt that other person a little bit too. I don't hold anything against our poster for this one. Definitely not the jerk. This girl just needs to let it go. She had it coming. I'm willing to bet that when she tells this story complaining about how she didn't get to go to prom, that she probably leaves out the bit where she was trying to cheat on her prom date. Oh, I'm sorry, the leaf blower's too loud? Hold on, I have something else. So this happened to my aunt's gardener. So my aunt just moved into a new neighborhood. She hired a gardener to blow all the leaves off of the property. It was the weekend, and apparently in the neighborhood there's a ban of sound over 80 decibels on the weekend. So the lady from the neighboring house came over and said, "We've called the police. Just wanted to let you know so it isn't awkward." What? You could have just asked. So the poor gardener gets a written warning and has to go. Now, later that week, the gardener calls and explains that he has a workaround and can resume work on the weekend. Obviously, we're wondering what's gonna satisfy this crazy lady. Come Saturday, the gardener pulls up in his truck this time. Suddenly, it starts roaring much louder than any of the leaf blowers. Turns out there isn't a law against banning mulch munchers from running, and this one is much louder than anything else the gardener has. He then proceeds to mask the leaf blowers with the mulch muncher. The lady storms out, takes one look, and goes back in. Turns out the police completely rejected her call, and she now has to live with this loud beast every Saturday for an hour. Very well played, sir. I like this one. At what point does the lady just come out and say, "Okay, you win, just use the dang leaf blower"? I just imagine her sitting in her house all petty, not willing to admit that she's way more miserable now. I do kind of feel bad for all the other neighbors that have to deal with it though. A little bit of malicious compliance for a racist customer. This one's short and sweet. I work for a flooring company running installation for one of our markets. The vast majority of the crews that work for us are filled with guys and the occasional gal from Central America. Being in a state with blue cities and red country between, we definitely get some of the good old boy mentality from some of our customers. We had an install go out months ago, and the customer specifically requested, "Don't send no dirty Mexicans to my house." While we have some guys from Mexico, we truly have the gamut of Central America represented in our subcontractors. So we do our schedule, not sending one of the guys from Mexico. The salesman was in the installation office when the customer called, rather frustrated. "I thought I told you not to send Mexicans out here." "Yes, sir, you did." So why are there Mexicans at my door saying they're from your company? Well, sir, it looks like Gustavo is out to your house today. Gustavo is actually from Honduras. At that point, the rest of us couldn't hold in our laughter, so the salesman left the office to finish the call. Gustavo and his crew were allowed into the house to install the flooring, but we haven't made a repeat sale to the same customer just yet. Way to paint with a broad brush, dude. Not only do you straight up say no Mexicans, but then someone comes to your door and you assume they're Mexican just because of the way they look and sound. There are many different countries that this person could potentially be from, but you assume he's from Mexico, which you hate for whatever reason or another. Just let the guy do his work. He doesn't give a crap about you. I get a beautiful engagement ring, and all of a sudden my mom feels the need to upgrade her wedding ring. My fiance said that my mom told her husband that she wanted to upgrade hers the moment she saw the ring my fiance had picked for me when he asked for their blessing. Time for an upgrade is exactly what she said. It's been a few weeks and they went to get a quote on her ring to trade it in, which at first I was fine with, and kind of teased her because I thought it was silly she was jealous. I told her as long as it doesn't look like mine, and they both confirmed it wouldn't be as she likes a different cut. Well, she came out with a massive similar shaped stone with a huge thick band made of smaller diamonds, but still larger than average, mind you. They sent us all a photo of it, and it's nuts how much they spent on it. When I asked her why she really needed such a large piece, she told me I didn't deserve to have a larger ring than hers because I'm not even married yet. So they had agreed to get her a bigger one because she earned it. First of all, I think this is insane to equate your self-worth to a ring. But what? And secondly, they said they've been having money problems, and the amount they spent seems irresponsible. I just wanted to vent a little and see if anyone has had a similar thing happen. This sounds like a jerk move to me. I'll be honest, this doesn't sound like a jerk move, it just sounds like straight up stupidity. There's literally no need for this purchase. And apparently it was a large purchase and at a time where you couldn't really afford it. All because you're jealous your daughter got a nicer ring? That's gotta be one of the stupidest, pettiest things I've ever heard. I know sometimes down the line people do like to upgrade their initial rings once they're in a better financial situation. But that's it. Once you're in a better financial situation. Not because your daughter just got engaged and you feel jealous. I banned my future mother-in-law from our wedding after she said some horrible things to me. I, 27-year-old female, am getting married to my lovely fiance, 31-year-old male, this summer. I have a daughter from a previous partner, Hannah, who's 8, and my fiance has a son, Riley, who's 10. Hannah and Riley are the reason my fiance and I started dating each other all those years ago. They became best friends in their swimming class a few years ago, and my fiance and I met like that. For this reason, we decided to try and incorporate them into the wedding somehow in age-appropriate roles that will be easy for them. My fiance's mother has always hated me. She thinks I'm gross for having been a teen mom, and she believes her son deserves someone better, i.e. a virgin. As you can see, she's very sexist. She thinks I'm an unchaste streetwalker here to ruin her son, which is extremely ironic because I was actually married to my daughter's father when she was conceived, and he left during the pregnancy. But my fiance had a shotgun wedding to his son's mother when she was 2 months pregnant. I was at my fiance's house yesterday and we were talking about what role we could put his son in for the wedding. My fiance's mother popped in unexpectedly. She asked about what we were discussing. My fiance told her we were finding a role for his son in the wedding, and he said that my daughter was going to be a flower girl. She responded by saying my daughter should be kept away from the ceremony, because otherwise everyone will know he's marrying a used woman. She said it in a different language, but I still understood. I saw red and started shouting at her. I've tried to be respectful for years, and I had enough. I told her that she was banned from the wedding and my fiance kicked her out of the house. We're both being bombarded with texts and calls saying that we're wrong for banning her, and people specifically asking me to let her come because they know my fiance will keep her banned until I say so. They kept saying that watching your child get married is a beautiful thing, and I'm depriving her of that because his first wedding was a mess. I'm starting to feel like I should unban her. Am I the jerk? I'm sorry, no, Absolutely not. This woman is horrible. Screw her, she can stay away from the wedding. It doesn't even sound like she's one of the people that is called to apologize. So why would you want to re-invite her? She hasn't shown any remorse for what she said yet, and apparently this has been going on for years. This is supposed to be some blessed day where she's happy for her son, but with her attitude, how can she be happy for him if she hates his new bride that much? No, you hold all the cards here. You're gonna have to deal with this woman for the rest of your life if you give in here. She needs to understand that she needs to respect you. And if she can't manage to do that, then she's gonna be able to see her son and future grandkids a lot less. I refuse to invite my mom to my engagement. I, 27-year-old male, am planning on proposing to my girlfriend of 2 years, Maddie, 27-year-old female. Planning on doing it by a lake, and I've already talked to her family and they'll be there. I've talked to my friends and her friends. From my immediate family, I decided to only invite my dad. He said this was a jerk move because it would be tough to not bring his wife, and it would create more of a rift. This will also be how the wedding will be, him getting a solo invite. So I told him if he doesn't want to come, I understand. But he should know I'll save the postage if he doesn't want to come to the engagement. Me and him went back and forth, so I decided to post here for a judgment. The situation with my sisters and mom stems back to my sister's wedding 2 years ago. My two sisters are Bella, 29, and Sarah, 25. Bella got married back in 2019. I liked the guy and we became decent friends when I was a groomsman. I live halfway across the country, so traveling back is tough, and I only do it for big events. I was heavily involved in my sister's first wedding. I went to the showers, bachelor party, wedding, and it was a pretty expensive couple of weeks, but I was willing. 2 years ago, my sister cheats on her husband with her current husband, gets a divorce, and engaged within like 3 months. I was across the country and not tuned into the situation, but my mom's stance on it still peeves me. She was always the big do the right thing type, religious and judgmental of others. Whenever she told me about the second wedding happening, I was like, am I supposed to support this? She got livid and said I need to be there and support as a family member. I said if she would pay my ticket, my hotel, and all my other expenses to come home, then I would. But I'm not dropping $1,000 to come home for a cheater's second wedding within 3 years, who didn't even respect her first marriage. My mom lost it on me and said she would not pay for me, but I had to be there. I said, I heard you're dropping like $10,000 on this wedding, so you'll finance a second wedding, but not your son's plane ticket home. She hung up, and that's been pretty much the last conversation we've had. I didn't go to the wedding. I also refused Bella's husband's offer to be a groomsman, which peeved off my other sister. Because of all the drama, I was told not to come home for the holidays. I was given the silent treatment by my mom and sisters. I started dating my girlfriend around this time and we went on a trip. I posted pictures of us and my sisters commented under the photos rude things about me being too cheap to buy a plane ticket but will spend money on trips. So I blocked them both and haven't spoken to them since. My dad is the only one I keep in contact with, so that's why he's getting a solo invite. He wants the drama to end and thinks me giving a solo invite puts him in a losing position. I told him that it's his wife's fault the situation is where it's at. But you guys tell me, is this a jerk move? While I see your point of view, I do feel like you're being a jerk. We don't know what was going on behind closed doors for your sister's first wedding, and you chose not to support her for the second one, when you did have money available since you went on a trip shortly afterwards. I'm not saying what your sister did was right, but at the end of the day, if this is your family and you're writing out the whole family as a result, can you say it was worth it to really stick to your guns on this one? This really just doesn't feel worth it to me. Despite whatever happened with the first marriage, I would still want my sister to be happy and want her to know that I support her. Not saying mom's exactly handling this the best way either, but I feel like a lot of it is falling to you here. And yeah, you are putting your dad in a really tough spot here. I personally really wouldn't want to be in his situation. I do think you need to make some kind of effort here to try and make peace. This is starting to feel petty. My boyfriend wants me to get my tattoo laser removed because it relates to my ex, but I refused. I, 23-year-old female, have a friendship tattoo with my female best friend April and my ex-boyfriend Rory, as the three of us were best friends from the moment we saw each other in high school when we were 14. I got together with my ex when we were 17, got the tattoo when we were 18, stayed with Rory for 3 years, then broke up. And now, after another 3 years, we're still friends. So it never really occurred to me to do anything about the tattoo. It means a lot to me. Nothing special though, just a triangle with 3 dots inside representing the 3 of us. No one would ever guess what it is. All of us have it on the back of our legs. I got together with my current boyfriend, 24-year-old male, a few months ago. And I made it clear from the start that I'm still friends with my ex and nothing is going to change that. I see him about 2 or 3 times a year because he moved to a different country, so it shouldn't cause much of an issue anyway. So my boyfriend, let's call him Edward, was very chill about this. So I agreed to actually get together instead of just dating. Fast forward to a week ago, he noticed the tattoo on the back of my leg and asked if it had any meaning. So I told him the 3 dots are me, April, and Rory, and we all have the same one. Upon hearing this, Edward got super upset. And after a heated argument, he told me if I truly loved him, I would immediately get it either removed or covered up. Now, there's absolutely no way I'm doing that, and I told him so. We haven't talked since, and I'm honestly starting to question whether I'm in the right for wanting to keep my only tattoo as it is. I love Edward, but it doesn't sit right with me to remove something so important to me just so he'd stay with me. Also, I don't understand why it made him so upset, since he knew I'm still friends with Rory. He refuses to talk to me now until I get it removed. I told him he was being pathetic and to think this through again. We're still not talking, and it's either I get an appointment or we break up. He won't change his mind. So, am I being the jerk here? This really sounds like your current boyfriend's insecurity more than anything else. As you've laid the situation out here in your post, I completely understand why you would want to keep it. It's your only tattoo and it has a lot of meaning to you from that time in your life. Also, I think there's a lot of meaning to the timeline here if we look at it. You guys became very good friends when you were 14 and got together when you were 17. This is understandable if there's someone of the opposite gender who you get along very well with that maybe you would want to explore a relationship. Then, after 3 years, you guys decided to break up and are still friends, meaning you've both taken the measure of this relationship and understand where it's best, with you guys as just friends. If anything, that's more reassuring to me. I don't think that your current boyfriend should be jealous at all. You and Rory broke up for a reason. You're with him for a reason. Now, mind you, you said you've only been with this guy for a few months. I don't think he trumps the importance of the relationship that you've had for years with your 2 best friends. Regardless of whether or not 2 of you experimented with a relationship at one point, your boyfriend really just needs to get it together. And if he can't, maybe this is a win. Getting out of this early before there could have been bigger issues down the line. I've been labeled the villain for buying my daughter the PS5 that she deserves. My ex and I have a 14-year-old daughter together. She also has 2 other kids who are a 16-year-old male and 11-year-old female. We have 50-50 custody. Here's the problem. My daughter loves gaming. She's been begging her mom and I to buy her a PS5. I bought one for her a few weeks ago, but I didn't give it to her right away. I decided to wait until after an important and difficult exam that she had and give it to her as a prize for getting an A+ in that exam, which I knew she would. A few days ago, my ex called me and asked me not to buy a PS5 for my daughter, as apparently she's been gloating to her siblings and making them jealous because their parents are financially struggling and they can't have as many privileges as my daughter. My ex gave me a long lecture about how she doesn't deserve another privilege because of her behavior. I told her I will consider it, but I didn't promise her anything. Well, she got her exam results a couple of days ago, and not only did she get an A+, she was the only A+ in her grade. I was extremely proud and decided that she deserves getting her new PS5 and gave it to her. Yesterday, I took her to her mom's house and a few minutes after I left, my ex called screaming at me asking why I did it, when she specifically asked me not to. She thinks I'm a huge jerk for doing this, but I think as her dad, I should be able to decide what my daughter does or does not deserve, and my ex doesn't have the right to tell me what to do. Yeah, I gotta agree with that on this one. The daughter has definitely deserved this. At the same time, I do think a conversation needs to happen to make sure she understands how to be humble. It's not okay to make others feel bad about having nicer things. If this is a persistent problem with her, then maybe it gets taken away for a little bit. But from what I can tell here, she absolutely deserves it. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, linked at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot, linked in the description as well. Either way, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.